thought about it, I guess people assume that I will. And why in the mix of trying to get fights or trying to at least being led to think that I was going to get Adonis Stevenson, he didn't want to fight, or his management or his consultant or his advisor or whoever it was. It didn't come to pass. So now I waited and had patience and continue to do my duties at Golden Boy Promotion and continue to represent boxing in my family and my personal business that I have up and going, running, and that is real estate. But the thing that I didn't actually know that was going to happen until I worked the Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao fight. People seen charisma. They seen knowledge being broadcasted through my color commentating. As they call it, expert in a color commentating. And they also seen my dress code. And they seen the way I was camera friendly. And then that opened up opportunities on one of the biggest, if not the biggest networks in sports and TV. It's called HBO. So when you take the swag bag and all those things that's in that, he's different than everybody else. They said that. And I said, absolutely right, that you're right. But there's always more that I want to show other than just what they see. And so far, I'm going to do that even more when I'm done after December 17th.
Speaking of broadcasting, Roy...
I love it. I respect it.
Roy Jones is also
Roy's in trouble
as well. I was going to say, is there a competition between you two?
There's no competition. It's just that if everything is judged on performance, then you must step your game up. Any job that you have, including being married, having a girlfriend or boyfriend, or a job where there's always going to be competition. And if you don't step your game up, and you let things just fall to the wayside, and you don't look like you used to look 2 or 3 years ago, neither do I. But at least if you don't try to make an effort, a sincere effort to always keep the flame lit, then your job is always up for grabs in any situation. I say any situation. So I look at that in sports, I look at that in personal, I looked at that in everything that I possibly can imagine where you can be replaced. And so there's no competition with nobody else that breathes the same air that I breathe. You know what the competition I am involved in? Me. I'm in competition with myself, because even though I believe I can do whatever I can do, they don't believe it. And it's not whether they do or don't. I recognize that I challenge myself more than anybody in this room will ever challenge me to push me to the limit. And it's not just sports, it's in everything. I believe in myself more than people do.
Bernard.
And I've been victorious in proving them wrong.
Bernard, there was a point in time in your life where all of this but there was a point in time in your life where all of this had just been a dream. How does it feel to be able to sit here and reflect back on how much you've overcome and the odds that you've overcome?
Really, it never gets old to me. It might get old to people that hear me talk about what you just mentioned, but it never get old to me because it is part of that foundation that I stand on. It would have just been a dream, but even the dream probably wouldn't have been talked about, because how can you dream something that you can't even imagine what will happen in the state of mind, in the state of behavior that I was involved or in. But what you said is so important because even though that didn't happen, thank God, just imagine how many great talent of anything, not just sports, that didn't get the opportunity or didn't want the opportunity that I grabbed the bull by the horns and took advantage of. I believe it was a Michael Jordan out there before Michael Jordan. I believe it was a Bernard Hopkins out there before Bernard Hopkins. But he was in East LA, he was in Compton, he was in Watts or whatever and got shot, got killed because he was a blood, he had green, he had red, he had whatever on her. I believe there was a lot of us before I became blossomed to be who I am, and somehow they didn't make it. Either they didn't want to, wrong place at the wrong time, just wasn't good enough, or didn't think they was good enough, didn't push forward. It only takes that little bit of dream killers or situations or someone talk you out of it. I was told by my parole man to stay out of trouble and don't go to Joe Frazier's. You heard me say it at the podium. I never forget that. How do you tell a guy that's 25 years old, they got 9 years to walk off, and you're at a halfway house and you got to report at a window and sign your name that you're in on time and go up to your room to the next morning. And you see your counselor because you put a slip in that weekend and you said, Mr. Lane, you know, I was boxing and picked it back up and graded for it. I like to go up Joe Frazier's, which is 10 blocks up Broad Street near Temple, and do some boxing about 4 to 7. I get in about a half hour later than I'm supposed to. Is it okay? You can watch this here from there. Send somebody there. No, random. Like random drug tests. You're 25 years old. And you want to be a boxer with $1,500 restitution, like $15 million when you're broke and in the ghetto and you come home with a parole. You can't just pay that with one job check. Now, I don't think he was being malice or mean or a dream killer. But if I would have took his advice, strong story. If I would have just took his advice, he wasn't being mean to me, sat me down. Just say, I would say, well, you know, 25 is kind of old to turn pro. In the boxing world, they come from the amateurs, 18, 17, 19. Let me just go to work and be an average citizen, big stomach, 9 to 5. If I'm lucky, I make about $20,000 a year because of my education, GED. It's bigger than boxing, man. My life, my story, and what I represent is bigger than boxing. And very few times I will use the word bigger than boxing. I'll say bigger than the belts, but it's bigger than boxing with me, with this. I became champion when I gave him 9 years of parole without a parking ticket and became who I am. I got my first belt when I got my slip saying my parole is over. Because I couldn't stay out of trouble for 2 days, let alone 9 years. And think I'm afraid of power and he can punch? You talking and listening to a fox. And I never knew no dumb fox. Foxes are smart. They know where to be, when to be, and where to be. And they barely become road killers or road killed. Squirrels do, other animals do, but you very often see a fox laying down, laid out because he got ran over by a tractor trailer or a car. That's why he's a fox.
Did you ever speak to the guy?
What guy?
That told you stay out of trouble?
Nah.
No?
But I'm glad I ain't listened to him. That's the key. I'm glad I ain't listened to him. He was giving me good advice.
Gotta wrap it up. Thank you.
Why not in Philadelphia for your last time out?
Why not in Philadelphia? Why not in LA?
Well, you're Philly roots and you're a Philly fighter. A lot of people.
The last one in Philadelphia. LA, the Forum, no more Spectrum in Philadelphia. If my fans have a TV and I can imagine in this world of media and social media or internet, can watch me, can see me, even when I'm done, December 17th, I couldn't see a better place at a better time in a better venue than the Forum. And let me tell you, they seem to want it more here, based on business. A lot of things Philly, which I love, can't afford and can't do. No matter if I'm Bernard Hopkins or not. People are starving, people are poor, people are finding their way. They're in confusion because they don't see anything in the next 4 years. Whoever become president, they're going to help them and watch our ass tax people to pay for me to do my last fight. The fans would say fight anywhere and they'll come. But I think this is the perfect time and a perfect place because of the history of the Forum, because of the surroundings of how it's going to be done. Couldn't be a better place. I really mean that. Because to do it in Philadelphia, which is a growing big city like most cities are, to change over in the last 10 years, right after the recession, to build up from the neighborhoods becoming hood, now they're yuppie neighborhoods. We call them yuppie neighborhoods. Yes, oh, definitely. This is the perfect place.
All right, we're done here, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.